So this is I think it was a 69 mc7. Pretty sure that's what year it was. I'm here working on this. I didn't get a chance to shoot a lot of video of this project yesterday just because I didn't get here till late in the day, and we only had a couple hours of daylight, and then it started raining. But I did get quite a bit done yesterday, and I'll go through and show you some of the repairs. A lot of it was just diagnosing issues, just testing some systems. Man, this thing's got some air horns on it. I'm gonna have to have him do those for me. That's pretty awesome. He had a couple of complaints. We're working through the list. First thing I had him do was air up the bus. There's something wrong with the fast idle on it. He figured out that if he loosens up one of the air lines on it so that it can bleed off the pressure, so the valve isn't discharging the air. But there's something going on where when it is on, where it pulsates and it like turns the fast idle on off while he's driving, or while it's running. I assume he said it was while it was driving too, so he had to do that. That's not good for the engine either, because it was like racking the governor back and forth. Another issue with the brakes, when I aired it up, I had him step on the brakes and I can hear an air leak. He said his brake lights don't work all the time. The air leak is coming from the stop lamp relay, which is like it's basically a switch. It has a little, it's about the diameter of a salt shaker, but maybe an inch tall. And there's a little diaphragm inside of it. When you step on, it's got an air chamber in it. When you step on the brake, the little diaphragm goes over and the little tab on the end completes a circuit, and that's what makes your brake lights work. So that thing has a big leak in it, air just hissing right out of it, like big time leak. We haven't taken it off yet, but I had him take a picture of it and contact a local supplier here. I think he was gonna try and get one this morning. So, and then another problem was, he said the front airbag, he thought it was just the right side, but he said sometimes it'll be up high and sometimes it's down low. And it'll change when you hit a bump or something, so he didn't realize what it was. And it took me all of about 10 seconds to realize probably what the problem was with that as soon as I looked under here. We'll see if it's bright enough without a flashlight. Ugh. These rubber mats that I have are nice. Okay, so there's his air leveling valve. And at the top of it, somebody made like an extension to make it go up higher. You see that little metal tab that's on there between the valve? And what it's doing is that it's got two bolts, one on each end. It allows it to pivot around. So sometimes it'll be an inch higher and sometimes it'll be, an inch lower than what it was regularly set to do. So that's a 2-inch swing, or is it 3-inch swing? Yeah, that'd be a 3-inch height swing from up to down. Somebody I don't know why they did that. They wanted it to be a little higher because these are really close to the ground in the front. You can see, I'm not sure if the suspension's down right now. I don't think it is. I think that's with the suspension up. He's only got 6 inches of ground clearance here. So I could see why they would want the body up a little bit higher. That would really help. But that's not the way to do it. So we'll get that. So if we want it higher, we can rig it a little bit. You don't want to play with the bags aren't designed to, they're designed for a specific ride height. So if you really start pushing it, I don't think an inch is going to hurt you. It'll probably do better for the bus than harm. But the way that they have that hooked up, we just need to change it around and make it go that way. So we'll have this jacked up in a little bit. We'll get under here. Never go under a bus with airbags unless you have blocking under it. And on this bus, it just needs to go under the body, so it can go under that little jacking point right there. But we'll jack it up and get it blocked up and get in there on that leveling valve. Especially when you're working on the leveling valves, you want to make sure that everything is blocked. The issue that he had with the throttle that I fixed yesterday, he was only getting like 60% throttle. That would have been miserable to drive. He had to have the bus towed because it's in a flood zone here last year. Oops, sorry, I didn't realize I was zoomed out. And so that leak there is just because they pulled the axles when they towed it. He sued the towing company. He had a padlock on the front of the bus, which is a real common thing that you do. But instead of cutting the padlock, they just beat this in with a sledgehammer to get access to the inside of it. That's a shame too. So he's looking for these parts to try and fix it. And he's also looking, if anybody's got MCI parts, for some of the marker lights that are missing or kind of damaged. That one lens up there is bad. Those are really discolored. So if anybody's got some of that stuff, I know he's looking for it. He got new drive tires on it. He's gonna get new steer tires on it. Oh, we had a power steering leak, which we just identified that as leaking some old hoses up front. Okay, so here's where the throttle, that little crank back there, let's see if I can zoom in on it there. Yeah, right there at the top. So the throttle linkage is this arm, sorry, right here, this one. It runs straight back and goes to that back there. Those bolts on the end down there, they were really loose, and that would pivot and twist, so it would move back there before it would move here. And then once we got that tightened up, we put new washers on it. Then I just had to make an adjustment here on the throttle. Let me zoom back out because it'll make you sick. I apologize. And then we loosened this jam nut, took it off at the end, and then twisted the rod to shorten the length. It's not inputting throttle right now, so we needed to take up the slack in the system. There's a bend in the other rod that goes down in the back towards the transmission, and I think that's what made the difference. We had to remove this cooler. He's got an auxiliary transmission cooler, which is not very efficient the way they have it mounted in here. So he had him add this, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what's going on with it, but it's a terrible place to put it for a few reasons. One is these MCI radiators push air through the radiators and it comes into the engine compartment. So there's these big fans that are blowing here, pressurizing this area here. And if they had a fan mounted on the outside of that trying to suck air in from the outside, but you're fighting the airflow from in here to do that. And then if you flip the fan the other way, well, this air in here is already warm, so now you're using warm air to try and cool through that radiator cooler for the transmission. It's a HT740, I believe is what it is. So no matter what, you're fighting several inefficiencies with having it in here like that. I mean, if you have the capability of running new hydraulic lines and mounting it somewhere else, that's what I would recommend, but it's not going to be very efficient the way it's here. I thought I had some of these little clamps, these little for these with me, but I haven't found one yet. I got to go through one more box. But those leak oil. You can't just put a regular hose clamp on it or you'll tear it to pieces. But there are metal clamps that hose clamps that go with those specifically that get down real tight, but they're real skinny and they're made for that. Otherwise these zip tie ones, but some of his are broken and it's leaking oil, especially the one on the other side is really leaking oil and it's coming down everywhere on here. So kind of making a mess. Also, it's probably not good for the engine that the right bank has, like, actually, yeah, I think it's the left bank because it's facing the other way. Anyways, the one on this side, the one, it has a straight pipe. Well, it has a glass pack on it, but it's not really a restricted one at all. So just straight open header, basically, we'll call it. And then this side has a huge muffler, restricted muffler on it. So that can't be very good for engine performance to have 4 cylinders restricted and 4 cylinders not. He wants to put a muffler over here on this side. I'm not really sure why they didn't just run the pipe like it's supposed to be on the MCI. They just run this pipe over and then it goes into that and then out the muffler. So maybe the muffler's not quite as restrictive because it's made for 8 cylinders and it's only got 4 going into it, but I don't think that that's really the case. But anyways, that's unusual to have something like that. So I'd recommend doing something with the exhaust. He doesn't like how loud it is with that, but I really don't think it's loud. I just got a glass pack for my bus that I gotta put on when we get home. I forgot to tell Tyler he's gonna help me do that one too, maybe. That'll be fun. So we're sorting through his issues, and the problem with the fast idle. So the fast idle is triggered by the same airline here. This is actually the fast idle. This is the throttle limiter, but they're both pulsating in and out. And it's if he loosens this, leaves this airline loose, then it doesn't build up air pressure. Otherwise, it does. So the valve that sends it, that's the control valve there. It's electric over air. So you get an electrical signal when you hit the switch up front, and then that sends the air pressure through there. So that thing isn't draining. So possibly it's plugged up, or it's not letting the air, because it's supposed to go psh after you're done with it, and it's not doing that. So either that or it's bad, and I think those are actually hard to get right now. So, but we'll see. He's got other ones that uses that same control valve for the door up front. So he has an air door up front. Maybe we can swap it with one of those to get it to work, or we'll we'll try to find somebody who's got a used one. Contact Luke at US Coach. Last time I contacted him about him, he didn't have them, but I don't know that it's been a while since I contacted him about that. Bus starts, runs great. His power issue will be solved now that he's getting full throttle, because when this was only going to 60%, man, that would be a real dog to drive. It didn't hunt at all when he started it yesterday. He's got a few air leaks in it, one being the one in the brakes. So we're getting there, and I'll shoot some more video in just a little bit as soon as we start tearing into it. It's a pretty good chunk out of a rim there. I'm actually surprised it held the bead on it when that happened. It hit a few things with it.
We might have done that.
The important thing is to look for cracks like in between here.
No, is that where a weight?
I think that's where a weight was, because there's another weight up there. It's a weird spot to stick a weight, but I think it was. This is Mel. He came out to help us today. He lives here not too far away. He's a volunteer, or not volunteer, a full-time firefighter, battalion chief, right?
Yes, in O'Fallon.
There you go. So he's out here to volunteer his time today, and since we're by the river, he wore his special shirt.
Fit in.
So I pulled the wheel off to get good access to the airbag leveling valve, and then so now you can really see. Of course, you can't see behind that muffler strapping that they use there on the top, and how it's bent over. Maybe get a better view through here. And that allows it to pivot up or down and change the ride height of the bus. It's not supposed to be like that. But one thing I noticed here, well, these brakes are out of adjustment, so we'll get them adjusted, but the last time they had the drum off, it looks like they cut these, they gave up on them. But this one is raised higher than the brake drum surface, and there's an indentation of this inside of the rim. So the rim wasn't able to push the brake drum all the way on. This was stopping it. So we'll have to run these tighter before we put the wheel back on. I'm going to go ahead and get this brake adjusted, but I can see considerable daylight between the surface of the drum and the shoes. So there's Mel taking off the part that was the problem. As you can see, it had a flathead screw in it, and it was pivoting around. It would flip up and down. So he's not afraid to climb under there. We did just add some blocking under the axle, and we have blocking under the body. Plus we have it jacked up. So he's extra safe under there, but these firemen guys, they're not afraid to go anywhere, I think.
Oh, I've been in tighter than this.
Yeah. While on fire. Alright. Spider-Man came out to hook us up today. Alright. That is sweet.
Show some spider moves.
Ready for Halloween.
You got some spider moves? Oh.
Spider-Man do.
We can use some help. Can you lift the bus up a little higher? We switched the front wheels around. We put the left on the right, right on the left. He thought he had a wheel issue, so we're going to see if this solves the issue. It'll let us know if it is a wheel or not.
So, you know, when you're in a pinch and you ain't got the right stuff, you get redneckized when you pull stunts like this.
Oh, man.
All right, we'll fix it before we take it around the road, though.
Contact.
Yeah.
Let's see if it sparks.
I hope not. It's scary when it does that.
No sparks. Just a tiny little puff of smoke.
Right, man.
I like it. I'd never heard the term redneckized before. So this tag axle has been bouncing when he brakes, and if you see the shock here, and it doesn't go anywhere. It's just hanging out up here instead of mounted down there where it's supposed to be. So that'll make it bounce with no shock.
Let it rise, dude. Got too much travel? Is that shock supposed to stop that travel?
It may. Let's turn them off. This is Doug. He came out to help us today too. We got the shock off, and I'm going to try to get a nail on, and that airbag definitely needs to be changed. Doug looks like you only saw a part of Doug when he was filling the tire. About 5 pounds of dirt on top of the airbag mount there that Doug's chiseling through to get to the bolts and take the bag off. Might cut a piece of chain so we can hang up keep the tag axle suspended. Okay, well I am done here. He's gonna need to order some parts and he can finish this now. I got the airbags off, that was the hard part. He's replacing the air lines that go to him, the airbags, and the shock that was broken off over here on this side. And then we did the other tag as well. So we've got the airbag removed, the shock is fine, and the airline and airbag as well for the tag here. So everything went real well. Got most of his little issues worked out. He's got to go order a few parts, get a few things. He's also looking for the windows on the top, the kind of scenic view windows over the raised up ones at the very on the roof line at the front there. So somebody's got plywood in there and he'd like to try to find a set of those if anybody's got that. So anyways, my bus is ready to head home. It's about 250 miles to Indianapolis from here. We will be cruising about 72 miles an hour today. I got a little carried away yesterday and took it up to 76. I wasn't paying attention, but yeah, we are ready to hit the road in Lenny.